All right, let's get juicy. Let me ask you about a player. How do you feel about Anthony Edwards?
Ooh, you're really going for the bull's horns on the first one.
Well, it goes back to our philosophical question. I mean, he already made an all-star team. Do you think someone like that can get any traction?
Can I ask you a question in response to your question?
Is it about another player?
No, it's about Anthony Edwards.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Do you think he's that much better than what we saw in the playoffs last year right now?
Not really. No, I think he's better. And I think I still need a full season and really some more postseason, like how is he going to do against high-level teams and things like that. I'm hoping we get a glimpse, Cody. I'm hoping we just get a little mini glimpse in the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament. I'm fascinated to see if we get to some single elimination games, if they'll shorten the roster, shorten the bench at the end of the game and things like that, change the coverages because they have time to plan for their next opponent. So I'm still going to be looking for that. But as of right now, not for me. It's not a huge jump. But that's why it's an interesting philosophical question. We're not talking about a player going from like the 50th best player to a top 10 player. We're talking about a player who was an all-star last year. I think at the end of the season in the playoffs, he certainly played like a top 25, top 30 player, whatever that cutoff is. And now he looks a little better to me, but I'm not sure if he's, when we get to the end of the year, if he's a top 10 player yet. So it's an interesting question. Yeah.
I'm not going to tread the ground too much because I talked about it a little bit last episode, but while he has improved a little bit more, I do think there are a couple key places that are like capping his ceiling right now, right? Mostly the decision making on offense, not going into hero ball mode, and then some of those passing reads that I still want to see him make. And I don't think I've seen him make much of a jump at all in either of those, right? And I'm sure somebody's going to send me some check out this kick out pass that Anthony Edwards threw against so-and-so. And I'm like, great, good. That's a wonderful little pass. That's great. But the fact of the matter is he still goes into his nice 19-foot pull-up jumper. And sometimes I'm like, I just want to see him go into it, look at the rim and be like, not this time. And then go make a different decision. And then once I see that starting to happen more and more, when I see some of the fat being cut out, then I think I'll be a little bit higher. But here's the thing about fat, Ben. Fat adds flavor to your cooking. So it's okay to have a little bit of fat. Like your best player can get in a little bit of that pull-up mid-range game, but it can't be your whole thing. You can't eat a whole meal of fat, man. You can't eat a whole meal of fat.
Is this going to be a weekly rant from you about Anthony Edwards' shot selection?
I think so. Speaking of we can't eat fat, things are just different, Ben. I heard that one of my grandfather's favorite desserts was he would just take the fat left over from the meat and just eat it, like the gristle.
Yes.
And just eat that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
This is great. Smoking and drinking and eating the fat killed him at 96 finally. So healthcare. What are we talking about?
I don't know where you're going. I just want to say that Anthony Edwards, I have seen some clips of a little improvement in the area you're talking about, and Mike Conley, I believe the report is that Mike Conley has been working with him on some of the reads, playmaking reads, pick and roll reads, and I have seen a couple of critical plays. I think he had one late in the Celtics game. I'm trying to remember. Maybe it was a totally different game. Maybe it was the Nuggets. I think it was the Nuggets now. I'm getting the game. All the games, Cody, are bleeding together. They're all the same game. You know what I'm talking about? Like the Sixers last night played the Celtics, but they also played the Bucks, and they lost to the Suns who beat the Lakers. And do you remember when Jokic hit the shot at the end of the game? They were all on the court at the same time. All that is to say, I do think there's been a little improvement there. And going back to what I said earlier about Tatum, it'll be really interesting to see by the time we get to the playoffs if he's able to pick teams apart, not at the level of the best players, but they throw different coverages at him, and he's able to say, this is when I need to drive to the hoop. This is when I need to take one of my juicy, gristly 15-footers that Cody loves when I take, and this is when I need to find a way to create an opening for a teammate and get a kick out. That is something that I am looking for with him.
Absolutely. I'm glad to hear that you think you see a little bit more. I'll keep an eye out for him, but maybe even just a little bit more.
Thanks for listening. You can find the full episode of this Thinking Basketball podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you enjoy podcasts.